Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Giorgio, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber slash podcaster, and I am back with another episode of Beyond Wrestling, and we will be talking about Edge's return to the WWE. Also, we'll be talking about what makes a great wrestling world champion, and also for the last topic, we will be talking about wrestling Twitter etiquette, and I guarantee you guys you're gonna want to hear that one as well. But I'm not gonna try to waste any of you guys' time because I know people have short attention spans these days. So the first topic we're gonna talk about is Edge's return. As you can see on the screen, I made a little Beyond Wrestling graphic. Probably not the best one, but hey, it is what it is. They haven't released like any photos that he took for the website yet, so but nonetheless, thank you all for listening in on this show. And oh yeah, before I talk about the Edge, I want to also say that now this podcast is now on Stitcher, which is a really great popular podcasting app, hosting app, where a lot of the big names in podcasting have their podcast on that app. So I'm so grateful that I got approved for that app as well, and right now I'm working on Google Play, and hopefully one day we can get Apple Podcasts. That one's the most difficult one out of all of them, but nonetheless, more listeners will be able to hear this podcast. Anyways, you guys, wow, Edge made his triumphant return to the WWE at the Royal Rumble, and it was quite the emotional moment to see, considering what happened earlier in the day with, the loss of Kobe Bryant, and a lot of us felt that one. So the fact that we had the Royal Rumble to kind of help us, just put our minds at ease for a little bit was really nice. And the fact that we saw Edge come out there, at number 21, I believe, the crowd just erupted. And I will say this, there have been a lot of rumors going around for the past, I would say maybe week or two before the Royal Rumble, where they was talking about, that Edge might be coming back. And of course, when you see this stuff on the wrestling news websites, you kind of have to take that stuff with a grain of salt, because you just never know what's going to happen, and you can't always believe what you see all the time until it actually happens, especially if it's people like Dave Meltzer reporting it. I just don't trust a lot of these wrestling news websites because, their job is to get people to click on their website and click the headlines. So, but the more I started hearing about Edge returning, I was like, this could be a possibility. So when we was watching the Royal Rumble, like everybody, like I'm sure everyone else was, when we saw Edge show up, that was just sick. And the thing is, he didn't show up out of shape or anything. He showed up shredded. Dude, Edge is in better shape than some of the guys that's currently wrestling. He really took this return very serious, you guys. And man, this is probably the best shape we've seen of Edge since, maybe his early 2000 days, like 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002. He had this same similar body type almost. So it was just really great to see Edge back in his element because, of course, he retired due to the whole neck problems and everything. But just to see him back, in the ring, just doing what he loves to do is just a beautiful thing, and believe it or not, WWE needs big names like this from time to time to help keep the product exciting. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep the product exciting and everything. And I think that's such a great thing, to have if you're going to be, doing pay-per-views from time to time. So, yeah, I was really excited for Edge. He lasted all the way almost to the end, Then, of course, Drew McIntyre had won the Royal Rumble. So from there, we thought, okay, well, this was it, And honestly, we wouldn't, if that was the last time we would saw Edge in the ring, that would have been perfect. But of course, we got the news earlier Monday that he was going to appear on Monday Night Raw. And, that was really cool too, because, it was like, okay, well, I had saw somebody tweet that Edge may have signed a 3-year deal with the WWE. Now, when we saw Edge on Raw, he said, basically, I'm back, So it must be some kind of validity or truth to that tweet that I had saw from someone that said he signed a 3-year deal. And it could very well be just a part-time deal. Limited dates, only for like big-time matchups and stuff. So, and if that is the case, then that's cool. I'm totally fine with that. And of course, Randy Orton had came out there, and it may seem like it was gonna have the Rated RKO group back together, which was such a dominant tag team that Edge and Randy Orton had. But of course, Randy Orton double crossed Edge and hit him with an RKO. The crowd just erupted and just complete shock. And the thing is, nowadays it's hard to get wrestling fans it's hard to get that kind of emotion out of wrestling fans. It really is. And it also takes a certain kind of talent to get the fans that emotionally invested, to the point where when if you go back and look at that footage after Randy Orton hit RKO'd Edge and he destroyed him, with the chair and everything. He did the concerto thing that Edge used to always do to his opponents. So, but you look at that crowd, they all were just in shock, complete disbelief, scared, because Randy Orton, he really fucked up Edge with that chair shot. So, that was such a big time, crazy moment right there. And, I just don't know, that shows you just how great Randy Orton is, especially as a heel. But the dude knows. This is what separates WWE from all the other wrestling organizations out there. They still know how to do a heel turn. They still know how to bring back a wrestler from the past or from an injury or whatever it may be and get the fans emotionally invested. They still know how to do that better than anyone else out there, and they did a great job with this with Edge, because now we're gonna probably end up seeing Edge versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania, so they can really play this up really well. The only problem where I think WWE messes up is, keeping the fans emotionally invested, because sometimes they tend to drop the ball in certain cases. But with this, there's no way you can mess this up. There's no way they can make a mistake with this. It's so easy now, because you've already got the fans emotionally invested. Now fans are going to be wanting to know, when is Edge going to come back to get his revenge on Randy Orton? And you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't have him come back so soon. I really play this up right before WrestleMania, and the thing is, you don't even have to do a whole lot of promotion with this, because we already know Ed's gonna get his revenge, and now fans are gonna pay money to see these two wrestle at WrestleMania. So, overall, I'm very pleased with Edge's return, and I hope that a lot of the younger wrestlers are paying close attention to this whole storyline, this injury angle, whatever this is. They need to pay attention to it. Pay attention to what Randy Orton was doing as a heel. Pay attention to how Edge was selling everything in his emotions and stuff. That kind of stuff isn't. You don't get that. Some people don't get that stuff naturally. It has to be learnt, and that's what you do if you're trying to be a wrestler, or if you're a current wrestler and you're struggling to keep the fans emotionally invested. You watch Ed and Randy Orton. They do it better than almost anybody, and that's just my thoughts on that. Alright, you guys, now we're going to be talking about how long should a wrestler be champion. And this is something that I don't see get discussed too much in, I guess the wrestling world as much, and the thing is, there's two different factors I believe that comes into play with how long should a wrestler be a champion, and also I would say two factors that come into play when determining who should be a world champion. But for the sake of this podcast, we're going to talk about how long should a wrestler be the champion, and to me, it comes down to this: like, let's say a person is a babyface world champion. Now, if they're still getting really great reactions from the fans, like when they come out, the fans just go ape shit crazy. You know what I'm saying? If the fans do that, then I feel like, okay, they still should be champion because they're still over with the crowd. And also, if they're still selling merchandise, they're still selling the tickets, they're still selling out the arenas, But mainly, it comes down to fan reaction. When you start noticing that a babyface world champion is losing the fans likeness to them, then yeah, you might want to either consider changing that babyface to a heel, which is a bad guy character, or you either take the belt off of them and put them on either another babyface champion. And if you don't have someone, a good guy or a good girl character that is just as over as them and with the crowd, then you should go and put the belt on a heel that is just as over, And so, okay, so let's say the babyface wrestler is super over with the crowd still. I would say, in order for a title run to mean something, it should at least be 6 months. 6 months is a good testing period, in my opinion, to see just how over a person could be as champion if they're going to be doing a lot of good business for the promoter, because that's really what it's all down to: how much money they can make the promoter. And if they can't make if they can't make the promoter a lot of money within that 6 months, then the promoter's not going to keep them as the champion. They're going to end up putting that belt on somebody else who can do it. So let's say the babyface champion does a great job, or even the heel champion does a great job in that 6 months, then you might want to consider keeping the belt on them for another 6 months. And I think that's generally how that should work. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as a heel, now it's different, because as a heel, you should be the most hated person in that company as far as a character on TV. And also in the wrestling world in general, you should be one of the top heels in the wrestling world. Wherever you go, fans are booing you. You go to the airports, the fans they're trying to get close to you to try to throw bad words at you or throw things at you when you're coming to the ring or when you're leaving the ring. It should be that hostile if you're trying to be a heel world champion, aka a bad guy or bad girl character. And if you're getting those kind of reactions or anything half as good as that, then yes, that heel should be the champion. And especially if you don't have that many good baby faces, good guy or good girl characters to pretty much help carry your company, then you're gonna have to keep the belt on the heel for a good period of time. Like I say, 6 months, maybe a whole year, if not, if so be it. Because without a great heel as a world champion, you can't have a great babyface character, the one that can really put the company on the back, because at the end of the day, that's what you're gonna be looking for, is that top babyface to be holding the belt so that they can make a lot of money for everyone and sell t-shirts and get the kids behind them. It's all a little puzzle, it's all a little puzzle, man, and without a great babyface, without a great heel, you cannot have a successful running company. And the reason I even brought this topic of how long a wrestler should be, world champion, comes to my mind is because of in AEW with Rio, how she's the world champion, yet she's barely featured on the show in any big or memorable storylines. You know, they're not doing anything to develop her as a character that we can build sympathy behind or build an emotional attachment behind. And that's a really big problem if you're trying, because this is the thing, she's the babyface champion. That's supposed to be someone who can be out there selling out the arenas and big time matchups and stuff. But if we don't have no story, no background, you know, or anything like that, there's no character development to Rio as the AEW Women's Champion, then it's not gonna go over well. And that's just my opinion. I feel like with AEW, with their women's division, Britt Baker should have been a champion from day one. Just like when they made Chris Jericho the AEW men's world heavyweight champion, they should have did the same for Britt Baker, you know. And the thing is, I think Britt Baker could have been booked a little bit better as far as trying to be the babyface champion, but they didn't never go that route. They went with Rio, which I understand. They're trying to get the international market and everything, but you know, to me, Rio is really not connecting with the crowd like that because she's barely on the show. She's barely on the show, and it's to the point now where they're basically just protecting her. They don't have her on a Dynamite, AEW Dynamite show in any kind of big way, and it's just ridiculous to me. So, and it comes down to that, when it's like that, I don't think that person should be champion for a long time. You know, I could see if she was in a big storyline where, you know, they had this big dominant heel just destroying her, then yeah, you're gonna want to see the champion come back up and win, obviously. But and when it comes to those kind of situations, you know, then that person should not be the champion for that long. You know, if they're not getting over with the crowd, when they come out, the crowd is halfway there. They're not emotionally invested. They don't know anything about the character. You know, the person's not selling any t-shirts, no merchandise. You know, to me, that's not, you're wasting time with that. And that's why I think they should go with somebody else as the AEW Women's Champion. Obviously, with the AEW Men's World Heavyweight title, you know, Jericho, I'm sure he has no problem putting over anyone to be the champion, but it has to be the right person. Right now, I feel like Jon Moxley is the guy that should be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He's the only one I feel like that has the star power, that has the crowd behind him, and he's believable, you know. And that's the guy I think should be the world champion there. Obviously, on the WWE side of things, I think Drew McIntyre should be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. As far as Universal Champion, I like what Bray Wyatt is doing with that title as the Fiend character. The Fiend character is still going strong, but yeah, eventually you're gonna have to drop that belt either by WrestleMania or around WrestleMania time, and I can honestly see them putting that belt on Roman Reigns. I mean, I don't know who else they could possibly do it. You can't say John Morrison because he just came back and he's involved with this storyline, you know, with the New Day for those tag team titles. But eventually, John Morrison could possibly be the world champion, maybe in like the fall of 2020, you know, of this year. So I guess we could see. I feel like he could be a great world champion, but obviously, I think Roman's gonna be the one to hold that belt soon. And the thing is, man, I know people be mad, but the thing is, Roman, he has a great connection with the kids and the women, you know. And if you're a wrestling company and you got a babyface that connects with the women and the children like that, you obviously gonna want to capitalize on it, you know. And nobody else is, I feel, ready at that point to be the champion like that. But yeah, that's just my general thoughts on how long a wrestler should be a world champion. In summarization, it should depend on how over they still are when they come out to the ring by the fans, or they're still selling merchandise, or they're helping the ticket sales in a big way. Do they keep the crowd emotionally invested in their matches and in their storylines when they're doing their promos? And as long as they're doing that right, then they should be a champion for 6 months to a year. But if it goes on a year and the crowd is starting to go a little dead, they're starting to go a little stale on that wrestler, then yes, you're gonna have to drop it to either another babyface who's just as almost over as that person was, or a heel. And I would like to know your thoughts, you guys. How long do you all think a wrestler should be a world champion? And what are your favorite qualities of a world champion? And I could talk about that on another particular episode as well if you want. But anyways, let's talk about the last topic, because like I said, I don't want to keep you guys here forever because you probably got stuff to do. But hopefully you're listening to this podcast while you're running your errands, while you're working out, whatever the case may be, And the last topic here is wrestling Twitter etiquette. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell is he talking about? You make it sound like we're fucking royal or something. like you're training us to be king or queen or some stuff. But I'm just joking with that. But seriously though, wrestling Twitter etiquette is something we do need to talk about, because there's a lot of wrestling fans on Twitter, and because they have these big numbers, and some of them may have been lucky enough to get a blue check mark by their name, I guess they think that they can just say whatever they want. They think that they can bully people into thinking the same way that they do, and so they'll quote tweet shame you. Which what they'll do is they hit that quote tweet button. They try to say you're a misogynist or whatever the hell the case may be, because you have a certain opinion of a wrestling character in a fake world. Because let's be honest with this, you guys. Wrestling does have a certain level of fakeness to it. They're all just playing characters on TV, just like any other TV show or movie. However, the things that are real are the moves that they do in the ring, and the traveling, the drama, the politics, and how much money you make. Those three things are the only real things about the wrestling business. So when you're on Twitter, you're expressing your opinions about a wrestler that you just don't like for whatever reason regarding their in-ring work or their promos or their look. I feel like people are entitled to those opinions. As long as they're mature, then that's all that matters. But if people start getting to the point where you start bullying other people because they don't like the same wrestler as you do, and it doesn't mean they're talking about them as a person, unless they really are, unless the wrestler really is a shitty person in real life. But for the most part, most people are just talking about them as a character, in a character sense. And a lot of wrestling fans are entitled to that opinion. But when you start trying to dictate how people should think, then you, or sir or ma'am, should be removed from wrestling Twitter, or from Twitter in general. There's a lot of bullies on there, especially in the wrestling Twitter community. And honestly, I don't even try to argue with these people. Like, I'll share my opinions all the time from time to time on Twitter. And I get my occasional troll replies from people and everything, and I never answer them unless I want to amuse myself. But for the most part, I do not answer them because they are not worthy enough of an answer from me, because I know what they're trying to do. A lot of people they try to, because we're in this PC council culture era of society these days. So, and because people have voices, or at least they think they do, on Twitter, they think they can bully people, and it's just wrong. You know what I'm saying? And so I think people should be able to express whatever opinion that they want on a wrestling character, a storyline, whatever it is. And people like to say, "Oh, you're just complaining and everything." Well, okay, this is my thing. It's not complaining if you offer solutions. Now, if you're just talking about something just to be saying it, then I can understand that may come off as complaining. But a lot of times, there's a lot of stupid stuff that goes on in a wrestling show, or what a character does that's really stupid, and it deserves to be called out, you know? So that's my thoughts right there, is, you know. And while I'm talking about this, I'm not trying to tell people what they, you know, I'm not trying to control what people do. I'm just saying people need to try to be a little bit more understanding. Let people live their life the way that they want to live, or just let them say what they want. As long as they're not being an outright asshole, just don't try to bother them. Don't try to bully them into deleting their tweet or whatever the case may be, you know. Don't try to dictate what people say, you know, because it just never comes off well. And honestly, people should not apologize for their opinions about wrestling, because the thing is, we're all fans at the end of the day. We're all fans of something that isn't technically real. Like I said, it's only like 3 or 4 things that are real about wrestling. So if we're talking about a character or a storyline, then let people say what they want, you know? That's just my opinion on that. As long as you don't start trying to attack somebody, you know? And be real. If you're gonna talk about something on Twitter, you know, regarding wrestling, be real about it. Don't be doing it because you want to pander, you know, to a wrestling to a wrestling company. Because if I'm sharing my opinions on here, this is how I genuinely feel, and I'm not going to hold that back, you know, just because I want to get a like from a wrestling company. Because let's face it, most of these wrestlers and even the wrestling promotions, most of the time they won't even see our replies to begin with. They don't really care like that. I mean, I'm sure they appreciate that people respect what they do, but they really do not care. Like, at the end of the day, they're not gonna care. They're not gonna go on there and check for no kind replies about anything. You know, maybe if you're a girl, because sometimes they'll reply to some girl tweets from what I've seen. But for the most part, they usually don't see what you say anyways, unless you're being a super disrespectful troll, which is, I think that's kind of, you know, unfair. Like, they'll reply to a troll comment, but they won't reply to the countless people or to that one really nice comment. And honestly, this is another thing with wrestling Twitter etiquette that I think everyone should know, is you gotta be ready to deal with the trolls. There are gonna be a whole bunch of them, I'm telling you. Especially as you continue to grow your name on Twitter, your platform, you know, you continue to grow your brand, you're gonna get trolls. They're gonna come out of nowhere. You're gonna get haters, you know. And so you gotta either learn how to deal with them or don't be on Twitter. And don't delete your Twitter account the second you get some mean comments sent your way, because obviously, for a person to send you a mean tweet or a mean reply, they must really admire you in some way. You're taking up a lot of head space. You're taking up a lot of space in their head. So you should feel great about that. They think about you that much to the point where they have to come and personally write something mean about you. You know, use that as free clout to build your brand. You know, and when you respond to them, if you do, you don't even have to be just as mean to them. You can just be like, okay, thank you. And you can say, hey, go and check out my shop while you're at it. You know, you got to learn how to have fun with it, because that's really what Twitter should be about. It's so drama heavy these days, and then you got a lot of wrestling fan accounts on there that are just as drama filled as these political accounts. And that's why sometimes I turn off my Twitter notifications, so that I don't even, just turn off Twitter in general, and so that I don't even be bothered with it, because there's so much negativity. And so I'm just trying to spread the positive words on there. And occasionally I will share my opinions about a stupid storyline. That doesn't mean I'm trying to be mean or hateful or whatever. If something's stupid, I'm gonna call it out. That's how it should be, you know. But nonetheless, I appreciate those of you who listened in on this show. Like I said, I try to do like 3 topics per show, and just to get so I can also see what you all think. If any of these topics appeal to you, let me know. Either you can contact me on my personal, Twitter page, or which is on my YouTube channel. You can just go on there in my About Me section, which is Giorgio ASMR, space in the middle, of course. Just search Giorgio ASMR on YouTube, and in my About Me section I have my social media links there, and you can go on there and just write me and let me know what you think about this, if there's no comment section available on the podcasting network, because sometimes there aren't, but thank you all though for just listening in. If you can, leave a good review on some of these podcasting apps that I'm on, if they give you the option to do so. That way they'll let them know that a lot of people like this channel. And if you're listening to it on the YouTube channel, then leave a comment below and like this audio or video, and make sure you share it, so more people can know about Beyond Wrestling, the podcast, and my YouTube channel. And lastly, just hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. I got a lot of great gaming videos on here as well that I think you all will really enjoy. Anyways, I look forward to hearing what you all think, and I hope you all have a blessed one, and I will catch you on the next episode of Beyond Wrestling. Peace out.